मंगलाचरणम्। अखिलरसामृतमूर्तिः प्रसृमररुचिरुद्धतारकापालिः ललितश्यामा ललितो राधा प्रेयान् विधुर्जयति। Welcome to the class, everyone. So we have discussed till the 15th verse of the first wave of the first division of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Shri Rupa Goswami, where he is describing the characteristics of Uttama Bhakti, pure Bhakti for Krishna. The 16th verse. सालोक्येत्यादिपद्यस्थ भक्तोत्कर्ष निरूपणम् भक्तेर्विशुद्धता व्यक्त्या लक्षणे पर्यवस्यति. So in the earlier three verses which he quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, this particular shloka, Salokya Sarashti Samipya. So Shri Kapila, Bhagavan Kapila is saying that my devotees would not accept these five kinds of muktis even if they are given by myself, if they are devoid of service to me. Okay. So this particular shloka is describing the greatness of the devotee of Krishna, not of devotion, not of bhakti. Directly it does not speak about bhakti per se, because we are on the topic of Uttama Bhakti, pure bhakti. So this shloka, which describes the excellence of the devotee of Krishna, it is also understood to describe the greatness of bhakti for Krishna, devotion for Krishna also. The purity of devotion for Krishna is also understood by this shloka. So it is also understood to be a characteristic of pure bhakti. Jiva Goswami does not have a commentary here. Okay, so Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary. Nanu Bhaktanam Utkarsha Nirupakam Salokyetyaadi Padyam Katham Bhakti Lakshanena Udarhatam. Somebody may question that Rupa Goswami is quoting a particular shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. This shloka describes the excellence, the greatness of devotee of Krishna. Why did he quote this shloka? In order to describe the characteristics of devotion for Krishna. Why did he quote it? To support the definition of pure bhakti which he had given. To answer that, Rupa Goswami has written this shloka. So this particular verse, Salokya Sarashti Samipya of the Srimad Bhagavatam, okay, इत्यादि पद्यन्तु मध्यस्थमपि नोद्धृतं भक्तमाहात्म्यवाचित्वात् नात्र स्यादुपयोगि तत् यतः अस्मिन् भक्ते अन्याभिलाषिता शून्या शुद्धा भक्ति अस्ति अतः अयं सालोक्यादिकं न गृह्णाति तस्मादेतत् पद्यस्थं भक्तोत्कर्ष निरूपणं भक्तिर्विशुद्धता व्यक्ति द्वारा लक्षणे पर्यवस्यति. Okay. So the reason that Rupa Goswami has written this shloka, he says that the devotee does not have any desire for these five kinds of mukti. Anyabhilashita shunya shuddha bhaktirasti. Because the devotee possesses the pure devotion for Krishna, which is of the form of without any other desires, anyabhilashita shunya. Because the devotee has this pure devotion for Krishna and does not have any other desires, therefore he does not accept these muktis which are given to him if they are devoid of service to Bhagavan. Ayam salokyadikam na grishnati. Because the devotee possesses this pure bhakti, he does not accept these various muktis if they are devoid of service to Krishna. For this reason, uh, the description of the greatness of the devotee in that shloka, it actually culminates in the understanding of purity of bhakti. It culminates in the description of bhakti's purity. Okay? Devotion to Krishna is completely pure. That's what it ultimately shows. Hmm. So this particular shloka, which is quoted in the commentary, Salokyetyadi padyantu madhyasthamapi nudhrita. Uh, this is from the objector, from the opponent. He is saying that because this shloka is speaking of the greatness of the devotee of Krishna, it should not have been quoted here by Rupa Goswami. But the word used here is na udhritam. It is not quoted, which does not make it clear to me. Okay. I don't know why Vishwanath Chakravarti has written this shloka in the middle of his commentary. It is actually the opinion of the opponent. Okay. Anyways, let's go ahead.
Actually, when you're describing this, the devotee, uh, the story of Gajendra and the crocodile, Makara, was something that can be mentioned. You and I had conversations about how Bhagwan wears earrings of Makara, a
Yes.
crocodile or an aquatic animal, a couple of weeks ago. But the story of Gajendra is the Makara holds on to Gajendra's leg, but Bhagwan gives the Makara the moksha first before Gajendra gets moksha. So laughingly, my Guruji once told us, not once, about a month and a half ago in one of his discourses, he told us it is because you might be better off, since you cannot see Bhagwan and you can't hold on to his legs, you might be better off holding on to the legs of a devotee and you'll get moksha before the devotee.
That's a very beautiful explanation.
I think this sloka, it's apt when you describe this to me.
The devotee's greatness. Yeah,
Devotee's greatness.
sure. So going on to the next shloka, number 17. Rupa Goswami now describes the characteristics of pure bhakti. क्लेशघ्नि शुभदा मोक्ष लघुता कृत सुदुर्लभा सांद्रानंद विशेषात्मा श्री कृष्णाकर्षिणी च सा. Bhakti for Krishna has these qualities. It destroys sufferings. It gives auspiciousness. It minimizes the attainment of liberation from this world. It is extremely rarely attained. Uh, it is constituted of a particular compact bliss, and it attracts even Shri Krishna himself to it. 6 characteristics of bhakti are described. अथ वैशिष्ट्यं कथयितुं यदुक्तं तदेव संक्षिप्य दर्शयति क्लेशघ्नेति. So in the 10th shloka, Rupa Goswami had written तत्रादौ सुष्ठु वैशिष्ट्यमस्याः कथयितुं स्फुटं लक्षणं क्रियते भक्तेरुत्तमाया सतां मतम्. In order to clearly describe the speciality of bhakti, in order to clearly describe the uniqueness, the speciality of bhakti, I am now giving the definition of pure bhakti. Okay. So this very thing, the speciality of bhakti, now they are being described in this 17th verse. Okay. अत्र वैशिष्ट्यं कथयितुमिति यदुक्तं तदेव संक्षिप्य दर्शयति क्लेशघ्नीति. तत्र साधनभक्तिः क्लेशघ्निरूपा शुभदा रूपा च. So bhakti is understood to be having various stages, three main stages, three. Okay. So first is the bhakti in the stage of practice, training, where one is getting the training to practice pure devotion. Sadhana bhakti it is called. You are practicing bhakti. You are engaging in the acts of Krishna bhakti with the aim of becoming perfect in those bhakti acts. So in that sadhana bhakti state, the characteristic of that bhakti is it destroys suffering and it bestows auspiciousness. So right in the stage of practice itself, bhakti destroys one's suffering and it bestows all auspiciousness. Then bhava bhakti moksha laghutakrid rupa sudurlabha rupa cha. Then the next stage of bhakti, which is bhava bhakti, where one experiences loving emotions for Krishna. In that state of bhava bhakti, one experiences two more characteristics of bhakti. There, one experiences bhakti as that which minimizes liberation itself. Okay? One feels that to be liberated from birth and death is actually not of any significance. That's what one would feel when one attains these loving emotions for Krishna. That liberation itself is insignificant. Okay? That's what happens in Bhava Bhakti. And this Bhava Bhakti has another characteristic, Sudurlabha, extremely rare to be attained. Extremely rarely attained. Okay, not everyone who is practicing sadhana bhakti will attain the stage of bhava bhakti. It will happen very rarely. Okay, and then sadhya prema bhakti sandrananda visheshatma Shri Krishna karshini rupa cha ityagre व्यक्तीकरिष्यति इति वायुवादिभूतचतुष्टयवत् तत्र तत्र तत्तदन्तर्भवि इति तत्तदन्तर्भाव इति. And in the last stage of bhakti, which is the perfected stage of bhakti, where one attains love for Krishna, prema bhakti, that stage of prema bhakti has the characteristic of Sandrananda Vishesha Atma Rupa. This prema bhakti is constituted of compact bliss, a particular compact bliss, particular form of condensed bliss, intense bliss, happiness, joy, particular form of great joy for in relation with Krishna. And the second characteristic which appears in Prema Bhakti stage is Shri Krishna Karshini. This bhakti for Krishna attracts Shri Krishna himself. It captivates Krishna himself. Okay, that is the glory of Prema Bhakti. that Krishna himself is captivated by love for him. Okay. Just as the four Mahabhutas, Vayu, Agni, Jala, and Prithvi. So, uh, the higher element has the characteristic of the lower element. So, air has the quality of touch, but the higher element, that is Tejas, fire, has the quality of touch as well as light, color. Color is present. Then you go to the higher element, water. Water has the quality which fire had of touch and color. And water has one more quality, which is taste. And then you go to the last element, Prithvi, earth. It has the qualities of water, that touch, color, and taste. And it also has its own quality unique to itself, which is smell. Smell is there. So progressively, each of the element displays the quality which is unique to its own self, and it also contains the quality of the element just preceding it. In the same way, sadhana bhakti has these two qualities: destroyer of suffering and bestower of auspiciousness. Then the higher stage of bhakti, bhav bhakti, has the previous two qualities of sadhana bhakti. It has the ability to destroy suffering, and it is the bestower of auspiciousness. And it also has two extra qualities which are unique to itself. Uh, it, uh, it makes liberation insignificant, and it is extremely rarely attained. Then the last stage of bhakti, prema bhakti, is where it has the four qualities of sadhana bhakti and bhava bhakti, and it also has two more qualities unique to itself. Okay. It is constituted of a particular form of intense bliss, and it is such that it attracts Shri Krishna also. Yes. Any question, any doubts someone has? All right. Tatrasyah kleshagnatvam. Now he describes the first characteristic of pure bhakti, that is the destroyer of suffering. So kleshastu papam tadbijam avidya chetite tridha. Tridha. There are three kinds of sufferings. Suffering is of three kinds: papa, sinful action which one did; tad bijam, the seed of the sinful action; and the third is avidya, ignorance, ignorance of one's real nature as constituted of consciousness. Okay. So, papam, the seed of papam, and ignorance of one's own nature, these are the three kinds of sufferings. Tatra papam. So, among these three kinds of kleshas, among these three kinds of suffering, he is describing the first kind, papam, as follows. Aprarabdham bhavet papam, prarabdham cheti tadvidha. Papam is of two kinds. Papam is that sinful reaction to our past actions, which has not yet begun to give its result. And prarabdha Means that sinful reaction of one's own past actions that has started giving its result. The reaction has started to show up, and the reaction where it has not yet started to show up. These are the two types of papa, sinful reaction. Okay, prarabdha means which has already taken place, already started. For example, our body, this material body is the product of our past activities. Okay. So whatever bad action we have done in the past life, those bad actions are giving us bad results in the form of various things related to this body. Okay. And this body has already taken effect. So this particular lifetime is the time period where this body will play out all our past actions, the reactions of our past actions, whether good or bad. Hmm. So, aprarabdha and prarabdha are two kinds of sinful reactions. There is no commentary on these shlokas. Any questions?
So, yeah, I have a comment on this.
Yeah,
Again, I'm sorry if I'm the only one asking all these comments and raising
don't
these
worry.
comments. So, prarabdha is something that we are experiencing in our current lifetime.
Yes,
Aprarabdha is something, the karma that we have not experienced yet. We
yes,
may experience it in this lifetime or in a future birth.
exactly. That is right.
That's my understanding, right?
Yeah.
So, in this context, again, I go back to what my Guruji once told me. Uh, we have something happening. We have, for instance, there is chicken pox going around in the neighborhood. So a lot of my neighbors have got chicken pox. So we are very, very careful about moving out of our apartment now for the last 2 weeks. Uh, if you get it as an adult, it's pretty serious and very painful. What they do is they go to the Navagraha and do Navagraha puja because some astrologer has told them it is your papa that is now coming out. And if you go do the Navagraha, do Shani Puja, or do puja to this deity or that deity or whatever it is, it will not come, or even if it comes, the effect will be minimized. What my Guruji once told me was, it's okay, you can go to a minor deity like one of the Navagrahas and you can pray based on your astrology, but don't pray for benefits. Because if you pray for benefits, what happens is that Papa does not get dissolved, it gets postponed. So, Prarabdha, your experience of it in this lifetime will slow down, but it doesn't get completely dissolved. You will experience it in its full form in the future. So, it'll become a Prarabdha.
Interesting.
Are you following that?
Yes.
Right? So he says it can, your suffering will not go away. Your suffering just gets postponed. So there is no point in you praying to the minor deity, praying to the Navagraha, praying to Mariamman or Kali or whoever that local deity is, but surrender yourself to Bhagwan and Bhagwan will take care of it. He will tell you, he can either solve it or he can absolve you of all your crimes, all your sins, or he can give you absolution. He can give you everything you need. Just surrender your soul to the Lord and enjoy this.
Exactly. That is the whole point. Okay. Just give up all other things. Just stop worshipping all other people and just surrender to Krishna. Okay. And he will take care of everything. So let's go to the next shloka. तत्र अप्रारब्धहरत्वं यथा एकादशे In the 11th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, 19th verse, it is described that Shri Krishna Bhakti, devotion to Krishna, destroys the sinful reactions that have not yet started to give their results. So, we are discussing the topic of bhakti being Klesha Agni, destroyer of suffering. We saw suffering is of three kinds: Papa, the seed of Papa, and ignorance. Now, Papa is described to be of two kinds: Aprarabdha and Prarabdha. Now, he is describing that bhakti destroys Papa in the form of Aprarabdha. यथाग्निः सुसमिद्धार्चिः करोत्येधांसि भस्मसात् तथा मद्विषया भक्तिरुद्धवे नांसि कृत्स्नशः. Shri Krishna tells to Uddhava, just as fire, blazing fire, it reduces the firewood to ashes. In the same way, O Uddhava, devotion unto myself destroys all sinful reactions. Completely destroys all sinful reactions. Jiva Goswami comments, पाकाद्यर्थं प्रज्वालितोऽग्निर्यथा काष्ठानि भस्मीकरोति. Just as fire that is ignited for the sake of cooking and other such purposes, just as it uh, turns the firewood to ashes, in the same way, devotion unto me, यथा कथंचित श्रवणादि लक्षणा समस्तानि पापानि दहति. Devotion unto myself, which is devotion means of the form of hearing about me, glorifying me, thinking of me, bowing down to me. So such Navadha Bhakti, which is yatha kathanchit kritam, even a little bit of devotion which you engage in, that will destroy all one's sinful reactions. So the idea here is that one has ignited the fire for the sake of cooking food or other such purposes. But the byproduct of the fire is that the firewood burns to ashes. That is the byproduct. That is not the main purpose of the fire. The main purpose of fire is to cook the food. In the same way, bhakti to Krishna, the main purpose of bhakti is to please Krishna, to satisfy him, to serve him. But the side effect of bhakti is that all one's own papa is destroyed automatically. As a byproduct, it is destroyed. That is not the main effect of bhakti. Okay, the byproduct of bhakti is that it destroys all one's sinful reactions. That is the point Jiva Goswami makes. Okay. Kritsnashah enamsi samasta papana. Vishwanath Chakravarti says, all one's papas are destroyed. So, any question, any doubt? Let's go to the next verse. Now, Rupa Goswami gives the example of bhakti destroying one's prarabdha, destroying the sinful reactions that have already started showing their effect. Prarabdha karma is destroyed by bhakti. That's what he says. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Skandha, 33rd chapter, 6th shloka, Bhagavan Shri Kapila, Devahuti. Devahuti speaks this shloka to Shri Kapila. यन्नामधेयश्रवणानुकीर्तनाद्यत्प्रह्वणाद्यत्स्मरणादपि क्वचित् स्वादोऽपि सद्यः सवनाय कल्पते कुतः पुनस्ते भगवन्नुदर्शनात्. By the chanting of whose name, by the hearing of whose name, by just bowing down to him and just thinking of him. Even a person who is low born, Shvada, even a very low born person, he becomes eligible to engage in a Vedic sacrifice. What then to speak of directly seeing the form of Bhagavan? Jiva Goswami comments, श्वादत्वमत्र स्वभक्षकजातिविशेषत्वमेव श्वानमत्ति इति निरुक्तौ वर्तमानप्रयोगात् क्रव्यादवत् ताच्छीलत्वप्राप्ते कादाचित्क स्वभक्षणप्रायश्चित्तविवक्षायां तु अतीतप्रयोगः क्रियेत रूढिर्योगमपहरति इति न्यायेन च तद्विरुध्येत अत एव स्वपच इति तैः स्वामिचरणैर्व्याख्यातं ततश्च अस्य भगवन्नामश्रवणादेकतरात् सद्य एव सवनयोग्यतायाः प्रतिकूलदुर्जातित्वप्रारम्भक प्रारब्धपापनाशपूर्वक सवनयोग्यजातित्वजनकपुण्यलाभ प्रतिपद्यते ब्राह्मणानां शौक्रे जन्मनि दुर्जातित्वाभावेऽपि सवनाय सुजातित्वजनक सावित्रजन्मापेक्षावत् तस्मात् भक्तिः पुनातिमन्निष्ठा स्वक्षुपाकानपि सम्भवादिति तु कैमुत्यार्थमेव प्रोक्तमित्यायाति. So Jiva Goswami comments that here the word shvadopi sadhya savanaya kalpate. Shvada, it usually would mean a particular category of people, birth in a particular community of those who eat the flesh of dogs. Okay, because the etymological meaning of the word Shvada is Shvanam Atti. One who eats a dog is called Shvada. And because the present tense is used here, okay. Kravyadavat tachilatva prapte. It indicates one's habit of eating the flesh of dogs. Okay. So, Savanaya Kalpate, present tense is used. It shows that he is having this habit of eating the flesh of dogs, such a sinful person. Kadachit Shvabhakshana Vivakshayam tu Adita Prayoga Kriyeta. So, the word Shvada means a person who is habituated to eat the flesh of dogs. He is such a lowly person. If it would mean a person who sometime accidentally ate the flesh of a dog, and in order to repent or atone, in order to do prayashchitta, in order to atone for that sin, he is chanting the names of Krishna. Then, in that case, the past tense would have been used. Kalpate is present tense. He becomes qualified for yajna. Okay. If it was just some person who ate the flesh of a dog once in his life and he wants to atone for that, then the past tense would have been used by Devahuti here. And Rudhir Yogam Apaharati iti Nyayena cha tad Virudhyeta. Yes. And it would also be against the logic that the conventional meaning always supersedes the etymological meaning. Therefore, the word Shvapacha is what Sridhara Swami has commented. Shvapacha, one who cooks dog, one who eats the flesh of a dog. श्वपच इति तैर् स्वामी चरणैर् व्याख्यातम् ततश्च अस्य भगवन्नाम श्रवणादि एकतरात् सद्य एव सवन योग्यतायाः प्रतिकूल. So such a sinful person, just by engaging in any one of these actions mentioned in the shloka, either he just hears to the name of Shri Krishna, or he just utters the name of Krishna, or he just bows down to Krishna, or he just thinks of Krishna. Okay, any one of these actions, if he does, then Sadhya Eva, at that very instant, he becomes eligible to engage in the Vedic sacrifice, savana. So it means that his durjati, his birth as a dog eater, his birth in the community of dog eaters, which is pratikula, which is disqualifying him from engaging in a Vedic sacrifice. Okay. The birth in the community of dog eaters disqualifies such a person from engaging in any Vedic sacrificial activity. Why has he been born in the community of dog eaters? That is because of his past sinful reactions, which have now manifested in the form of his birth in the community of dog eaters. So now that he has heard the name of Krishna, or uttered the name of Krishna, or bowed down to Krishna, or just remembered Krishna, because of that, his sinful reaction, which manifested as the birth in the community of dog eaters, that has been destroyed. That prarabdha karma, that karma which have already, that papa, that sinful reaction which has already manifested in the form of that bad birth, that itself is now destroyed by the effect of Krishna Bhakti, by just once hearing the name of Krishna. And because that prarabdha karma has been destroyed, he is no longer disqualified to engage in any Vedic sacrificing. He is now fully qualified to engage in a Vedic sacrifice. Okay. So that's what it means. His papa has been destroyed, which this papa made him take birth in the community of dog eaters. That papa has been destroyed, and savana yogya jatitva janaka punyala, he has also attained the punya. He has also attained the good merit of being born. He has attained the good merit of birth that is suitable for engaging in Vedic sacrifice. He has also attained the punya that makes him qualified to be born as a person qualified to engage in a Vedic sacrifice. Okay? So not only has his papa of a bad birth been destroyed, he has also attained the punya which qualifies him to be eligible for engaging in the Vedic sacrifice. ब्राह्मणानां क्षौत्रे जन्मनि दुर्जातित्वा भावेपि सवनाय सुजातित्व जनक सावित्र जन्मापेक्षावत्. This is the same as those who are born in the families of Brahmanas. So because they are not, so those who are born in the families of Brahmanas, they do not have any disqualification in terms of their birth to engage in the Vedic activity. Their birth does not disqualify them to engage in Vedic sacrifice. Brahmana birth is not a bad birth. So although their birth does not stop them from engaging in Vedic sacrifice, still they have to undergo a second birth in the form of Upanayana Samskar. They have to take the Vaidika Diksha from a guru, get the Brahma Gayatri. Okay. And that Brahma Gayatri, when they receive, it is called their second birth. Okay. And it is Sujatitva Janaka Savitra Janmapeksha. Uh, Getting initiated by Brahma Gayatri, that is their second birth, which now makes them qualified to engage in Vedic sacrifice. So, even if one is born in the family of Brahmanas, one does not immediately become qualified to engage in Vedic sacrifice. One has to undergo Upanayana Samskar. And when one has Upanayana, then only one becomes qualified to engage in sacrifice. In the same way, a person who is born in the community of dog eaters, when he hears the name of Krishna even once, his bad birth in the community of dog eaters is destroyed. Okay, he no longer has the sinful reaction that made him disqualified by being born as a dog eater. Okay, and he also gets the punya which creates his other birth, which creates his birth, which makes him qualified to engage in the sacrifice. Just as a Brahmana takes the second birth in the form of Upanayana and becomes qualified to engage in sacrifice, this particular person also takes second birth in order. How does he take? Just by chanting the name of Krishna, he gets the punya of a second birth, which makes him qualified to engage in sacrifice. Therefore, it is said by Bhagavan Shri Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavata 11th Skandha, 14th chapter, 21st verse. Bhakti punati mannishtha swapakan api sambhava. Bhakti rendered to me purifies even those who are dog eaters. Iti tu kaimutyarthameva proktam iti ayat. This statement of Krishna is said only in the sense of what to speak of. It even purifies dog eaters, what then to speak of anyone else. Dog eater is the lowest kind of a person, lowest human being. So bhakti to Krishna purifies even the lowest human being of his bad birth, what to speak of anyone else. It purifies everyone irrespective of their birth. That is the point. Birth does not disqualify you from engaging in bhakti or attaining perfection in bhakti. Okay. Also, I should say that birth in any community does not qualify you to engage in bhakti or attain perfection in bhakti. Bhakti is independent of one's birth, independent of one's learning of the Vedas. It is independent of one's status in society. It is independent of one's wealth and all other such things. Vishwanatha Chakravarti comments, Yat Prahvanat Yasya Namaskara. Just by Prahvanat means by bowing down to Krishna. Even a Shvada, a dog eater, becomes eligible to engage in the yaga. Any questions or comments?
Actually, two comments. One is about this ability to do Vedic sacrifices. But don't the Upanishad say for the Vedic sacrifices you need to be ordained? Like you said, somebody should have the sacred thread and should have gone through the Brahma Gayatri initiation before they can do Vedic sacrifices. So, with respect to that, there is a local temple near where we live. It's on the foothills of the forest area. The temple actually, a few years ago, was inside the forest.
but Coimbatore city has expanded, urban sprawl, and now it's close to taking over the temple. It's a temple for the local village. It's a Shiva temple. It's not a Bhagwan temple. That's something to keep in mind. But even though it's a Shiva temple, it is a local, the priest is not a Brahmin. He's
Hmm.
a meat eater.
Okay.
He eats chicken, fish, and everything. But he is the archakar for the temple. He's the guy who does all the worship for the deity. But when it comes to homas, and they do some kind of a homa uh, every Friday or every Ekadesi or something like that, they do some kind of a homa. He told me, I have long conversations with him when we go for walks. He said, I don't do the homa because he's afraid. He knows the mantras, but he's afraid it'll have an impact on his life. So he gets the Brahmins to come in and do the homa. Right. So he might be qualified because of his bhakti, he might be qualified to do the homas, but he does not do it.
Thanks for the question. So the thing is that if you refer to the commentaries of this particular Bhagavata shloka, which Devahuti has said to Sri Kapil, there it is said that one becomes as respectable as a Brahmana who does the Vedic yajna. He cannot do the yajna because he does not have that Brahma Gayatri Diksha, and he also does not have the training in the particular mantras that are required to know. You need to know the mantras, you need to know how the procedure of doing the yajna. The point simply Devahuti is making here is that he is no less than a Vedic Brahmana who does a yajna. That's what
He
she.
is not okay. Yeah, he gets treated
He gets treated like
very
that,
honorably and
very
respectfully.
honorably, respectfully, but he cannot do
Yes.
the yajna. That is understood.
Okay. And the second comment was, we know the story of King Harishchandra in the Mahabharata.
Yes.
So he falls down, he basically becomes worse than a Chandala.
Yes.
And then he's able to come back and rule again
Mm-hmm.
because of his bhakti. Anyway.
Right. Okay. So that is the 21st verse that says that Prarabdha also is destroyed by Krishna Bhakti. The Prarabdha, Papa, sinful reactions that have already started giving the results, they are also destroyed by Bhakti. Okay. So Rupa Goswami explains it further here in the next shloka. दुर्जातिरेव सवनायोग्यत्वे कारणं मतं दुर्जात्यारम्भकं पापं यत् स्यात् प्रारब्धमेव तत्. Okay. One's birth in the community of dog eaters is the very cause of one's disqualification for engaging in a sacrifice, and the sinful reaction that manifested as that birth in the community of dog eater, that is called prarabdha, prarabdha itself. Prarabdha is nothing different from the sinful reaction that has manifested as that bad birth. So, Jiva Goswami comments here. तस्मात् दुर्जातिरेव इत्यत्र सवनायोग्यत्वे कारणम् इति तद्योग्यता प्रतिकूलपापम् अपि इत्यर्थः. न तु तद्योग्यत्वाभावमात्रमपि इति ब्राह्मणकुमाराणां शौक्रे जन्मनि दुर्जातित्वाभावेपि सवनयोग्यत्वाय पुण्यविशेषमय सावित्रजन्म सापेक्षत्वात् ततश्च सवनयोग्यत्वप्रतिकूलदुर्जात्यारम्भकं प्रारब्धमपि गतमेव किन्तु शिष्टाचाराभावात् सावित्रजन्म नास्ति इति ब्राह्मणकुमाराणां सवनयोग्यत्वभावच्छेदक पुण्य विशेषमय सावित्र जन्मापेक्षावदस्य जन्मांतरापेक्षा वर्तते इति भावः. Srinivasan ji, Jiva Goswami is clarifying the point that you raised just now.
Yes, interesting.
Yeah. So, Rupa Goswami says in the shloka, Durjati eva, bad birth itself alone, only that bad birth is the reason for him being disqualified from doing that yajna. Okay. So, tad yogyata pratikula papamapi. It means that he has a particular papa which is contrary to his being qualified, which opposes his being qualified for the yajna. It is against his qualification of being qualified for the yajna. Okay. It does not mean that he just does not have the required qualification for the yajna. That's the point he makes. The bad birth of this dog eater makes him disqualified for the yajna. It does not mean that this person simply does not have the qualification for engaging in the yajna. No, he has something opposite to the qualification of being qualified for yajna. Okay. It is not the absence of qualification for yajna. It is something that is against the qualification of yajna. That's what he has in the form of the bad birth. Okay. So, for example, he says the boys of Brahmanas, the small Brahmana boys, they do not have something that is against the qualification for doing the yajna. Okay? They do not have the bad birth. They have a pure birth as Brahmanas. Still, because, still, although they do not have the bad birth, in order to be qualified for doing the yajna, they need to undergo a specific ceremony called Upanayana Samskar. By this Upanayana, they will get a particular punya, they will get a good merit, and it will be their second birth, and by which they will be qualified for yajna. Okay. So, what is happening here is that in the case of this dog eater, he has something that is against the qualification of yajna. And when he just hears the name of Krishna, chants Krishna's names, this impediment, this bad birth which was against his qualification of doing yajna, that is destroyed. Okay. So prarabdha karma, his sinful reaction that had already manifested in the form of this birth, bad birth, that bad birth, that prarabdha karma itself is gone. It is removed just by Krishna Bhakti, even once. Okay. Also, he becomes now qualified to engage in yajna. It means that he also gets the punya to engage. He also gets the punya that a brahmana gets on getting the upanayana samskara. So upanayana samskara punya is also included in the effect of Krishna Bhakti. That also he gets. However, because he does not have the required shishtachara, because he does not have the required conduct of a brahmana who does the Vedic yajna. Okay. And because there is no precedent of him being given the Upanayana Samskar, Sishtachara Bhavat. Okay. So, what I wanted to say is that because it is not a custom to give this person who was born as a dog eater and has engaged in Krishna Bhakti, and he is having the qualification now to engage in the yajna. But because it is not a custom, it is not a tradition to give him the Upanayana Samskar. Okay, he is not given Upanayana Samskara because there is no tradition to give Upanayana Samskara who is born to someone who is born as a dog eater. So, because there is no such a Shishtachara, no such a parampara of Vedic followers to give Upanayana Samskara to such people. So, they will, if they want to engage in the Vedic Yajna, they will have to wait for another birth. They will have to wait till they die and they take next birth. They should take in the family of Brahmanas or Kshatriyas or Vaishyas. Then only they will be having the birth qualification to get Upanayana Samskar, and then they will do Yajna. Okay, that is the point he makes. So just as the sons of Brahmanas, although they are born as Brahmanas, they nevertheless need to take the Upanayana Samskara and get the required punya to do the yajna. In the same way, these people also who are purified by bhakti, because they cannot be given Upanayana Samskara, because they cannot be taught the Vedas, they need to wait for next birth where they can be qualified to engage in the Vedic sacrifice. Okay? Therefore, atah प्रमाणवाक्येऽपि सवनाय कल्पते संभावितो भवति न तु तदा एव अधिकारी स्यादिति अभिप्रेतम् व्याख्यातञ्च तैः सद्यः सवनाय सोमयागाय कल्पते अनेन पूज्यत्वं लक्ष्यते. Okay? So, in the Srimad Bhagavata statement where it is said he becomes eligible to engage in that yajna, it means that he becomes respected like the one who does the yajna. It does not mean that he at that very instant becomes eligible to engage in the yajna. That is not the intention of that statement of Srimad Bhagavata. Okay. And it is commented in this way by Sridhar Swami also, that Pujyatvam Lakshate, he is being respectable. Okay, he becomes as respectable as a Brahmana who engages in the Vedic sacrifice. That is understood. तदेव दुर्जात्यारम्भकस्य पापस्य सद्यो नाशे वचनादवगते दुःखारम्भकस्यापि नाशस्तु भक्त्यावृत्त्या संभावित इति सर्वप्रारब्धपापहारितायाम् इदमुदाहरणं युक्तमेव. So he says here, the papa which manifested as one's sinful birth, bad birth, it becomes immediately destroyed. At that very instant, it becomes destroyed. So that is the main understanding which one should have from the shloka. Just as that papa is immediately destroyed, that papa which manifests as sinful birth, that is immediately destroyed by Krishna Bhakti, in the same way, all one's papa that leads to suffering, all one's papa is also destroyed by practicing Krishna Bhakti, by one's Bhakti Avritti, by one's engagement, by one's repeated engagement in Krishna Bhakti, all one's papa is immediately destroyed. Sarva prarabdha papa haritayam idam udaharanam. Therefore, this example of the sinful birth being destroyed is actually an example for all prarabdha papa being destroyed, for all manifest sinful reaction being destroyed at that very instant of Krishna bhakti practice. That is the main point of this shloka. Okay. All one's sinful reactions that have already manifested, they are destroyed immediately, instantly by one's engagement in bhakti. Yes. Any question, any doubt?
Comment is the. Do you still, does a Chandala who has become a Bhakta, does he have to take another birth so he can do Vedic sacrifices for attaining moksha?
No. He does not require to take another birth to attain moksha. But in case he wants to do Vedic sacrifice, then he will have to
If
take
you want to be. Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Not for moksha. Bhakti is sufficient. Okay. Bhakti is the highest thing. You don't require anything other than bhakti to be liberated from this world.
Okay.
Yes. Any other question or comments? Okay, let us end today's class on this point, and we'll continue with the next verse on the next week. Okay. Next
Are you
Wednesday.
going to talk about the Sahasranama, Vishnu Sahasranama verse? Navasudeva Bhakta Nama Shudam Dekojit Janma Vritti Jarabadibhem like Vajayit.
Oh yeah, Yathoktam, yeah. It is not a shloka actually. It is Na Vasudeva Bhaktanam Ashubham Vidyate Kvachit Janmam Mrityur Jara Vyadhi Bhayam Vapyupajayate. The devotees of Bhagavan Shri Vasudeva, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, there can be no inauspiciousness ever in their lives. Okay. They are never afraid of birth or death or old age or disease. They will never get the fear of old age and disease and death because they are devotees. The bhakti for Krishna frees them of any suffering, frees them of any anxiety. So this devotion destroys all suffering. That is the point. We'll discuss Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary in the next class. Yeah.
Thank you, Parachi.
Thank you.
Sarvam Sri
Hare Krishna.
Namastu.
Radhe Radhe.